training camp's over, heading into the season up front from the lineman's perspective?
Yeah, I just think there's excitement this time of the year. You're heading into week one, and there's a lot of expectations and a lot of goals for ourselves. And this week is the first week it's real. So to be able to go out there against a great front, and the Steelers have, and be able to compete is just really exciting. This is what we all do it for, and you guys have been covering it for months, and we've been training for months. Now it's time to do it for real.
What could you tell us about the new offense?
I think just the way we play up front is nothing's going to change. I think the standard's been set, and Led has that for us, where we're going to play fast up front. He always says it, speed off the ball, and then just try and finish and let those guys make their plays. That's our job. To watch Kirk and all those guys, I'm so excited to watch, the explosives that they're able to make, because there's nothing more rewarding than watching those guys have success.
Mm-hmm. And Coach talked about the mentality of the offensive line, and he wants that to spread throughout the team. Do you take that as a compliment?
For sure. I think, you guys know Led. He comes in and, I think he could be a WWE wrestler in a different career. So he brings that passion and energy every single day, and then us, we have to do it. And, there's, for all of us, Drew and I 4 years, Caleb and Jake 6, we're just heading into a second year. We have so many reps together as a group that we really know what our best is every single day. And so when a guy's not bringing their best, everybody else pushes them along. And so when you have a really healthy culture in that sense, you can never really have a bad day, because you got those guys working each other.
What would his wrestling name be?
Oh, I don't know. You're going to have to ask him. He's probably got one. I'm telling you, if you ask him, he's definitely got one, or he's thought of one once in his life.
And what was getting a guy back like Elijah, who, started 9 games here a couple years ago for you guys?
Yeah, it's awesome. We love Elijah, and it was so great seeing him come back in the building today. And just excited to have him back around. It was funny. He hopped right back into Indy and knew exactly what he was doing, just like never skipped a beat. So we're super excited to have him back.
Chris, this speed off the ball mantra, I can't remember if it was you or somebody else who said it's even more than like a football thing. It's more of like a life philosophy. It could be a life philosophy. Can you kind of explain what that means, I guess, generally, but also just why that phrase is kind of so...
Yeah, I think it's just our identity as a group, and it's the expectation that no matter what we're going to do, we're going to play as fast as we can. And so nothing hesitating, nothing like, waddling off the ball. If you're going to do something, do it full speed. Obviously you'd like to be doing it to the right guy and stuff like that. But I think that's the thing, is just we're constantly going, and it's a never stopping kind of mindset, and we're just always kind of going. And so every single play, the standard is you better be at your best, smoking off the ball, and that's what everybody expects from you. That's what, at least I expect from myself, and I know all the other guys are the same sense. And that's the standard, thing. We got it up in our room. Everybody has it. And if you ask any of the old linemen in our room, like, they know that's the expectation.
Does it make it easier to play that way when the retention in this room that you've had for the last couple of years? You know the guys next to you. Everyone knows their role. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think the communication aspect is such a big thing. There's so many things that defenses can do or present, or staff changes. There might be different language things, and you can almost problem solve, with them. Talking to Drew, talking to Caleb, it makes it easier to problem solve, and then you kind of know each other's tendencies. So if are they asking a question, or are they reassuring you? Like when you get up to the line, and you kind of know all those things, and it's incredibly fortunate to, it's not very frequent in the NFL that you get to be with guys this long, and I don't know what the stats are, but I know we're super lucky, and it's a great thing that we never take for granted.
In what ways have you seen Bijan grow going into his second year?
He's as talented as anybody, and just his approach, he comes out here, works his butt off every single day, taking tons and tons of reps. It's 95 degrees out today, and Bijan was taking a ton of reps, finishing, and I think the success he had last year, I think he's just excited to build upon it, and there's no better person to be around than Bijan. And when he goes and makes those plays, there's so many times you can't believe that it just happened, and then you go and watch tape. So I'm just really, really, really looking forward to what Bijan's able to do on Sunday.
Why is he someone you want to be around? You mentioned.
He's not a better teammate. Like, he comes up, he'll go give you a hug every single day. He's got a massive smile on his face. He's a great personality, and then in the same sense, he comes out to practice with that same energy. And I think that's what we talked about, the continuity like with Bijan and Tyler and the whole line and stuff like that, is, there's a real love for each other, for, wanting to push and have success. And we know that everything's so codependent, and those guys treat us phenomenal. Bijan's a complete superstar and a great player, so he's an amazing person to be around every day.
I know expectations are kind of hard to talk about because you're looking, just at week one right now, but like what the talent this team has and like the one, the defensive talent they brought in recently, like what are the expectations for, you guys?
I think Coach has said it. I think it's, winning the division is always your goal. And we're coming out and ready to work, and I think we have a huge challenge ahead of us with the Steelers week one, and they have one of the best fronts in the NFL. So just preparing this week and next week heading into it, knowing that, it starts for real next week.
Hey, Chris, your hard work has definitely been noticed. With 10 days left between now and week one, what is your primary focus going into the first game?
It's going to be learning the game plan. I think you get all your fundamentals at this point should be pretty close wired in, or you have one or two things you'd like to clean up. And then it's just mastering the game plan so there's no look, or, you really want to have all the looks mastered in your head, so when you go out there, if a problem presents itself, you kind of know how to adjust on the fly. And so that's a big thing with any game week, but especially now with week one, you kind of want to dial everything in and have it focused. And so the coaches will prepare and stuff like that, and then we'll really hone into it and study heading into this week.
Chris, can you recall what your reaction was when starting caps were first mandated, and has your opinion of them changed at all over time?
Not really. I think, it's been good to mitigate concussions, and I think, I might be wrong, but the original thing was the first 2 weeks of camp, because they said statistically concussions came more in the first ramp-up period. I might be wrong, but that's at least what I think. And then they transitioned that to wearing it on all the full pad days throughout the season. There's so much different helmet technology now where guys are wearing the helmet with the front bumper and stuff like that. So I think it's just pushing the science technology forward. If it's not guardian caps, it's just, pushing the helmet technology to be better. And then the whole thought process behind it, I believe, was that ramp-up period, and then also just the ramp-up period for soft tissue injuries. And concussions, the same thing. You're not in shape, don't have your technique in line, and so you're more at risk. And so I think the science aspect behind those guys have done a great job.
Is it important for players like yourself to keep up with helmet tech and the science behind this stuff?
Yeah, I think, we all understand the inherent risks that we take coming out playing, and then you want to mitigate that. And our equipment staff, Joey and those guys, they do such a great job informing us. They said, okay, this is the league studies, they have it posted. They sat down with us and we're like, this is what you guys helmets are currently in, this is where you're at. These are these current helmets, and I'm super fortunate that we have a great staff here that's, really informs us as players, and if we have questions, they're always more than willing to ask.
Do you think it's much of a decision for guys to wear them in the games? Like, what is the calculus behind that, whether or not to wear them in the games?
I think it's just a personal decision for guys, and it's, do you wear the guardian cap or do you wear the helmet with the front bumper? Are you okay? Just in the last 10 years, look at the way helmet technology has improved, and it's only going to keep getting better. And so I don't know what the exact answer is, but I know the league's done it where it's a personal choice now, where if guys want to wear it. But there's so many different options, and the equipment staff and these helmet companies have done a really good job of improving it and then informing us as players.
At this point in your career, do you get any jitters heading into week one, or what does that feel like for you?
Every day.
Yeah,
being an offensive lineman, it's nothing but jitters. There's a ton of stress to perform, and the consistency aspect to it, and a lot of it is just because you care. It's meaningful to you. You want to have success, you want to do well for your team, you want to play well individually, but there's a lot of, if I don't do my job, somebody might get hurt. So it's that's a big responsibility, and it's something that every day you take a lot of pride in how you perform, and that's why every day from April all the way to now is so important.
Are those jitters a mental thing, or is it your body do you know what I mean? Is it a fight or flight thing where it's you have to go out and hit someone, or is it a mental jitter?
Both, a lot of both, especially at least myself. I'll talk about myself in this sense. The anxiety aspect of it. Your stomach is wrenched, you're going into it, and the guy you're playing is really, really good, and You learn how to deal with it over time. But then the mental anxiety of it, you eliminate that aspect in your studying and your preparation, because if you didn't know what you were doing and then you head out there and you can't look yourself in the mirror and be like, I studied, as hard as I could for this, or you didn't work as hard as you could, then you have regret. But in the same sense, if you do all that preparation, it's just the kind of performance anxiety.